My narcissistic husband hired a hitman to eliminate me for insurance money. The hitman turned out to be my ex-boyfriend. I'm sitting in my kitchen with a gun pointed at my face, and the man holding it is crying harder than I am. My name is Amber. I'm 32 years old, and I thought the worst thing that would happen today was burning dinner. I was wrong, completely wrong. Let me go back 20 minutes. I was stirring pasta sauce when I heard the back door open. Not the front door, the back door, the one leading to our small backyard that no one uses except to take out the trash. My husband, Derek, was supposed to be at a work conference in Chicago. He left 2 days ago with his rolling suitcase and that familiar smirk he wore when he thought he was getting away with something. I froze, wooden spoon in hand. The pasta water was boiling over. I heard footsteps in the hallway. Heavy footsteps, not Derek's. Derek wore expensive loafers that clicked on the hardwood. These sounded like boots, possibly work boots. My phone was charging upstairs in the bedroom. The footsteps stopped right outside the kitchen. I held the spoon tightly, as if it could protect me, as if I could defend myself with pasta sauce and boiling water. Then he walked in. I recognized him instantly. Dark brown eyes, the scar above his left eyebrow from a bike accident in 9th grade, the way his jaw tightened when he was stressed. Marcus. He looked just as shocked to see me. We stood there staring at each other for what felt like a long time, but was probably only a few seconds. He was holding the gun, not aimed at me yet, just at his side, like he had forgotten it was there. Amber. He said my name like a prayer, or maybe a warning. What are you doing in my house? My voice shook. The spoon was still in my hand, dripping sauce onto the floor. He didn't answer. He just stared at me with a look I remembered from 10 years ago, the same expression he had when he told me he was joining the army and leaving town. You need to leave, right now, before I call the police. Your phone's upstairs, he replied quietly. That's when I knew this wasn't random. That's when the fear became real. How do you know that? He glanced at the gun, then back at me. I've been watching the house for 3 days. The pasta water had overflowed completely, hissing on the stove. I didn't move to turn it off. Why? Your husband hired me. He said it simply, like it was routine. I laughed, because the alternative was panic. Derek hired you to do what? Change the locks? Marcus slowly raised the gun, not directly at me, but enough to make it clear. To kill you. The spoon fell from my hand. That's not funny, I said, backing into the counter. You're lying. Your husband took out a $2 million life insurance policy 8 months ago. He called it a situation that needed handling. He found me through contacts. He doesn't know who I am or that we know each other. He just knows I make things look like accidents. My legs weakened. You're a contract killer? I prefer private security consultant, but yes. And Derek? I couldn't finish. Your husband wants you dead, Amber. He paid half up front, $25,000. The rest comes after. I slid down to the kitchen floor. The tiles felt cold. The smell of burning sauce filled the air. Everything felt distant, unreal. Marcus lowered the gun and crouched a few feet away, not close enough to touch, just close enough to talk. When I saw your photo, I almost walked away. I couldn't believe it. How long? I asked quietly. How long have you been doing this? Since my second tour, 6 years. And you've killed people? He didn't answer. I covered my face. I need to call the police. And tell them what? That your husband hired someone? There's no proof. He used a burner phone, paid cash, met me in a parking garage. He was careful. Then I'll leave, right now. He'll hire someone else, someone who won't hesitate. I looked at him closely. He was older now, more hardened. Lines marked his face. His hair was cut short, military style. But underneath, he was still Marcus, the boy who walked me home from school, who gave me his jacket in the rain. Why are you telling me this? Because it's you. I stood slowly, still shaking, and turned off the stove. The food was ruined. It didn't matter. I need proof. Marcus pulled out his phone and showed me messages labeled client. The texts were vague but clear. Target is home alone most evenings. Make it look like a home invasion, clean and quick. There were photos, Me leaving the house. Okay. Marcus placed 2 large bags of groceries on the table. I need to take photos of you that make you look deceased for Derek. My stomach tightened. How are we going to do that? I have experience staging scenes. Just trust me. And I did trust him. I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe because he was the only person who had ever truly understood me. Maybe because even after 10 years, after everything, I believed Marcus wouldn't actually harm me. He spent about an hour preparing the scene in the cabin's bedroom. He had fake blood, props, and a camera with a professional lens. It was unsettling how skilled he was at this. Lie down on the floor, he instructed. Turn your head to the side. Close your eyes. I followed his directions. He adjusted my arms, arranged my hair, added the fake blood, and took multiple photos. That's good. That looks believable. I opened my eyes. Have you done this before? Staged photos? Sometimes clients want proof without the actual result. So you've faked deaths before. A few times. Situations similar to witness protection. People who needed to disappear. I sat up and wiped the fake blood from my face with a towel. Is that what this is? Am I going into witness protection? Something close to that. He showed me the photos. They looked realistic. I appeared pale and lifeless. It made me uncomfortable. This will convince Derek, he said. It will be enough. Marcus left about an hour later, saying he would return in 2 days with more supplies. I watched his truck disappear down the dirt road. Then I was alone, completely alone. The first night, I cried. Then I felt anger. Then I cried again. I thought about Derek, our wedding day, how he used to look at me when we first started dating, and how that expression had changed over time into something colder. I thought about the signs I had ignored, his secrecy with his phone, the late nights he called work meetings, the frequent business trips, and the way he insisted on updating our life insurance policies, calling it responsible planning. I had missed everything. On the third day, Marcus returned with groceries and updates. I sent him the photos. He seemed satisfied. He gave me a location for the money drop. I'm meeting him tonight. What if something goes wrong? It won't. But I could see concern in his expression. This situation is risky. If Derek suspects anything, Marcus could be in real danger. Maybe we should go to the police now, I said. With what we have, it's not enough. We need him to claim the insurance money. That's the key evidence. I don't want you to get hurt. He looked at me carefully. I didn't expect you to care, considering I left you. That was 10 years ago. You didn't marry anyone else until Derek. How do you know that? I kept track of you over the years, just to make sure you were okay. I didn't know how to respond. Part of me felt uneasy. Another part felt reassured. Why did you leave back then? Why did you really enlist? He sat down and rubbed his face. My dad lost his job. My mom had medical bills. We were going to lose the house. The Army offered a signing bonus and steady income. It was the only option. You never told me. I didn't want you to feel obligated to stay out of sympathy. You had your own future. I couldn't ask you to wait, especially when I didn't know if I'd come back. I would have waited. I know. That's why I didn't ask. We sat quietly for a while. The wood stove made a steady sound, and rain began tapping on the roof. What happened there, in the Army? I asked. Things I don't talk about. Things that changed me. Is that why you do this now? When I returned, I didn't fit anywhere. I had a specific skill set. Someone noticed and offered work. At first, I justified it. Eventually, I stopped. How many people? He looked at me. Do you really want to know? I hesitated. No. 18, he said. Over 6 years. Some may have deserved it. Some didn't. I don't sleep well. The weight of that statement stayed with me. After this, I said, you should turn yourself in.
Really? You could cooperate.
Amber. Marcus's voice sounded strained and uneven. I almost responded out of relief, but something stopped me. His tone, or maybe instinct. I stayed quiet. The flashlight passed over the area again. Amber, it's okay. They're gone. You can come out. Something felt off. His voice was too controlled. I looked carefully around the tree and saw Marcus about 30 feet away. He was injured, bleeding from his shoulder, but still standing and moving as he searched. Then I noticed another figure behind him, holding a gun. "Keep looking," Derek said. "She's here somewhere." I froze. Marcus wasn't searching freely. He was being forced. Derek had been there the entire time. Either Derek followed him to the cabin, or Marcus led him there. Then Derek spoke again, and it became clear. "We had a deal," he said. "You bring proof of death, you get paid, and we're done. But you tried to blackmail me with recordings. That was your mistake." "I wasn't blackmailing you. I was going to the police." "That's worse. So here's the new deal. You find your ex-girlfriend and finish it. Maybe I let you live. If not, I handle it myself." Marcus's posture dropped slightly. He was cornered, injured, and outmatched. "Fine," he said. "I'll find her." They moved deeper into the woods, away from me. I waited until their voices faded, then ran in the opposite direction, toward the road, toward help. After running for a long time, I saw lights, a 24-hour gas station. I went inside, visibly shaken. The cashier immediately reached for the phone. "Please call 911, I said. "My husband is trying to kill me." Police arrived, followed by detectives. I explained everything. Derek, Marcus, the cabin, the insurance plan, the previous deaths and the recordings. They located the cabin about 2 hours later. It had become a crime scene. 3 men were found dead inside, all with criminal histories. However, Marcus and Derek were gone. The recordings and Marcus's laptop were also missing. Without evidence, the situation became complicated. It was my statement against Derek's. 6 hours later, Derek arrived at the station with a lawyer. He claimed he had been in Chicago the entire time at a work conference, supported by receipts and witnesses. He also suggested I was experiencing a mental breakdown. His lawyer described me as unstable and unreliable. I tried to defend myself, but without proof, it was difficult. I was held for a psychiatric evaluation, 72 hours under observation, answering questions that made me question my own memory. But I knew what I had experienced was real. On the 3rd day, a nurse entered my room. She was older, calm, and professional. She handed me water and a small pill for anxiety. After I took it, she leaned closer and spoke quietly. Jessica was my friend. She meant Jessica Hartley, Derek's second wife. We worked together. I never believed her death was an accident. "You believe me?" I asked. "I do, but belief isn't enough. You need proof." She placed a small USB drive in my hand. Jessica suspected something. She kept records, financial documents, messages, everything. She gave this to me 2 days before she died. "Why didn't you go to the police?" "I tried. It wasn't enough at the time, but combined with your testimony, it might be." The drive contained extensive evidence, bank records, insurance changes, messages, and even personal notes documenting Jessica's concerns and injuries. With this information, along with my account and the events at the cabin, the police reopened the case. 3 days later, Derek was arrested and charged with conspiracy to commit murder and insurance fraud. Investigations into his previous wives' deaths were also reopened. Marcus, however, remained missing. The trial lasted 8 months. Derek's defense attempted to discredit both me and the evidence.
However, Jessica's records were detailed, and one of the hired men survived and testified against him. Derek was convicted on multiple charges.